Protests are taking place around the state against policies passed during the recent legislative session. TV 20's Ethan Podolsky tells us how people used to use joy to spread their message.
We have to focus on our joy and not let all of these oppressive laws get us down.
That is why members of Florida for All organized today's event. The event, titled Freedom for All, took place at numerous locations throughout the state, including Roberson Park in Gainesville. Organizers say the goal is to protest what they call oppressive policies that were passed during the last state legislative session.
I think the biggest thing is just understanding people's experiences and trying to listen to them and trying to actually do their jobs and follow what the people want, because it doesn't feel like with all this legislation that has been passed that this is what the people want.
The event was labeled a protest, but organizers say it is not a typical one. They wanted to use joy and celebration to spread their message that they will not stand for these policies. I asked some of the advocates here at the event why they believe that joy is a better expression of protest than other means.
Joy is really important. I think joy sustains us more than I think the alternative, even though I think it's important to kind of feel everything.
Expressing the fact that they are able to be unapologetically them and still be happy and thriving no matter what.
The event was scheduled for July 1st because that's when most of the policies they are protesting took effect. There were 8 other events around the state, including one more in north central Florida that took place in Palatka. In Gainesville, Ethan Podolsky, TV 20 News.